Greetings, everyone. Thank you for being here. Time for another day of our 100-day challenge. We'll spend a few minutes longer than usual, so our video will be a little over 15 minutes today. Let's start by waking up the body with our tapping, our body slapping, body patting, cupped hands on the side of the head, turning the head first left, then right. Remember to think about, if the images are helpful, think about a rug hung over the balcony that you're hitting with a tennis racket, knocking the dust out. We have this sort of shaking vibration that happens with the impact. From the belly up the chest, out to the left chest and shoulder, and we'll walk down the inner arm. Pausing for a moment at each of the major joints along the limbs, where stagnant circulation is prone to happen. We'll turn the arm over and walk up the back of the hand and arm, especially getting around and behind the shoulder. All those little rotator cuff muscles hide there, and they love to get stiff on us. Up to the side of the neck and over to the chest. We'll again pat the chest before we move to the right arm. Walk down the arm. So continue on. Same on this side. And now's the time where we start to keep multiple things in our attention. So half of our mind is following the instructions, patting, or working on the body part that we're on right now. And half of the mind is on our basic standing posture, noticing and sort of scanning our body for tension we're holding, for unnecessary strain, how we're standing, and for if we're breathing or not. So half of our mind starts to soften and relax the body and to allow it to fill with breath as the other half continues the specific exercise. Here we are now. We've gone back to the belly. We've circled around to the back, low back, and down the back of the legs. Go up the front inner leg, back to the low belly, and continue. So what that means is that we are not sacrificing our breathing at the expense of doing the motion. We're just as interested in a slow, steady breath, 10-second breath, in and out the nose, as we are in the specifics of this exercise. In our basic standing posture, we talk about it often, but we want to be relaxing the back of the waist. So the back where the belt sits on our hips, we want that to lower, to sink, the low back to relax a bit. We want the back of the neck to lengthen upwards, the crown of the head to lift, the shoulders to soften, to lower. And now we're just going to place our palms on our low back and scrub up and down on the low back, the back of the sacrum. Inhaling, scrubbing while we hold the breath. Exhaling, inhaling, holding the breath at the top and just chafing this area. Exhaling. This warms the body up, warms the kidneys especially. And now we will circle the wrists and the ankles. Sheriff's proud of all your progress. He says, keep it going. Interlace the fingers, rotating the forearms around each other, or the wrists around each other. while one leg rotates the ankle with the toes on the ground. Switch sides and switch directions. As we get better at this sort of broader focus of what we're doing, we'll get less stressed out by exercises and by whatever activity we're doing, because it's not all engrossing. It's not like it's surrounding us on all sides and we're really overwhelmed by the activity, but it's just sort of over there, and part of our mind is always inhabiting and sort of noticing our whole body, our breathing, and there's a lot of freedom and comfort in that breathing and spaciousness inside. Now we are swinging the hips to throw the arms up and then to bend the elbows. So we throw the arms up, bend the elbows. So we're waking up both armpit, shoulder joint, and the elbow joint. Now we throw the back of the hands back and then throw the elbows back by bending the elbows. So we're working on breaking some of that intense stiffness and stagnation around our shoulder blades and mid-back, waking up some of the chest muscles. And we'll widen the feet a bit. Inhaling, we'll lift the hands up, stretching the whole body tall. Exhaling, the hands down. So the exercises start to have this sort of lighter, fluid quality as we learn to do them without strain. So we're kind of learning to undo as much as we're learning to do, because most of us stay tense most of the time. It's easy to do, or hard not to do. But that's why we get such quick gains and improvement in pain and quality of life with these exercises, is that we reduce how much we're tightening up our body all the time. Interlacing the fingers or grabbing the hands, stretching over to one side, so we're similar to the reaching up exercise, but really stretching the side of the body. Now let's do some of our arm rotations, reaching through the fingertips. Again here, we're inhaling the arm up and exhaling the arm down. Each motion working on that little part of the body to free it up, unbind it from the day, the tension of the day, or whatever activity we've been up to. Switch sides a few times each direction. Now I've been working on this spinning, chopping motion for the shoulders and the spine. Follow along, but I'll give you some clues. We want the palms up. The palms are cupping upward, holding this teacup. So here's our start point. We pierce one hand forward. We're switching sides. We pierce one hand forward, scoop the other one back under the armpit, and then swap the arms. So we sort of load the spring and then release it and spin. So the hand that passes under the armpit, when it turns to the front, it will rotate over and drop our imaginary teacup. But rewind that part if you need and practice it again. Even if you don't have the hand motion quite right, just get the big picture of turning the torso, loading the arms, turning the torso. And then here we're moving on to a rotational movement for the SI joints. So the one hand, it's like it digs a shovel in the ground in front of us, and then it deposits that dirt behind us, so it drops it behind us. And we accomplish that not by moving the arm, but by turning the waist and the hips a bit. You'll feel it if you try to push with the legs and the hips to turn the arm forward, and then drop the hand behind you. You should feel some little flexing in the SI joint area. The idea of digging or pushing the point of a shovel into the ground is very helpful. You want to push it that last couple inches. And then we'll do a couple of our hip circles, our hula hips, going around the world with the whole hip girdle. A few times one way, a few times the other. So hopefully you're finding a good time to do these videos, maybe in the morning to start the day, or at a break from your work or from any other task you've been up to. You can do them before bed. It'll help you sleep better, but you'll have a better day if you do it sometime during the day. Here we are moving into this sort of figure 8 hip circle. We haven't done this before, or not for a while, but one hip tracks backwards and around the corner, and then the other hip goes diagonally backwards. So it'd be like there's a figure 8. We're in the center of a figure 8 if seen from above. Switch directions. So you're trying to push through the feet, and that moves the hips. The back hip circles back and then rounds the corner. And now work on that a bit. Pause if you need. And then let's hike the knees up. We often do this to loosen the hip flexors, loosen that hip hinge, and then we're going to go on our little side-to-side movement. We like doing, bending down into one hip and knee, trying to lower the ribs down towards that thigh. It's works well to exhale out when you go down. And now we're going to bend into that front knee and start our little back and forth motion of elbows bent, elbow down towards the knee, arching back, reaching the hand up, same hand up towards the sky. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Switching sides. Exhaling down, inhaling up. And we want to think here again about, we've talked before about this expressiveness of the whole body. So it's not necessarily even what it looks like on the outside, but we're just thinking of moving the whole body into this one shape. We're not just isolating a part, but we're thinking of every part of the body being active and awake, breathing in and going to the end limit, exhaling and resetting. Even here on our knee circles, we want to be mobile and loose in our knees. This will greatly improve your ankle mobility. If this seems totally impossible to you, you can put a board or a little lift or a blanket under your heels. Lift your heels up a bit. Or do it on a down slope. Exhaling down, inhaling up. Press through the heels to come up. We go straight up and down. Try to keep the chest and head forward. And then our Phoenix stretch. We're doing the elbow version today. Crossing the elbows. Reaching one side towards the foot for a breath or two. Thinking of reaching through the ribs, the whole side of the body. And then the other side. Keep that weight on the back leg. It wants to creep forward into that front foot. And try to keep the spine long and uncurled, so we're hinging at the hip, but the head is pulling away from the hips. Switch sides, switch arms. Now let's stand with our feet closer together. We're going to do this upper back arch for a moment. So try to not overarch the low back. Bend the elbows into this goalpost arms. Pull the elbows back and the head back, the ribs back. Try to lift the sternum and the breastbone up high. Breathing as we stay here. Just a few breaths. Great. You've done great today. We added a few more minutes, but nothing really challenging. Just a little more comprehensive of some movements today. Let's just stand in our basic posture for a moment. Uncurling the elbows, uncurling the fingers. Trying to let the whole arm hang towards the ground. And now our whole mind can focus on this even balance and the breath flowing in and out, especially around the waist. In the low back as well as the belly. Have a moment there to collect yourself, and please join us again tomorrow. Have a great day today. Leave comments, ask questions. We'll look forward to seeing you